It's from Rabbi Tyrell. Today I had the pleasure means being Rabbi Yossi Bensoussan. Rabbi Yossi, how you doing?
I'm doing really well. How are you?
Again, and if we share that's a little bit about yourself. We're doing this second time, so
sure. We'll do that quick. I don't like talking about myself as much. So my name is Yossi Bensoussan. I grew up in New York, and then I moved to Israel. I'm very bad with years, so that happened at some point. I grew up with my siblings, my parents, obviously, my siblings in New York, and then I moved to Eretz Yisrael with my wife. We had our 4 out of our 5 children were born in Israel.
Oh, wow.
And then, actually, that's not true, but basically 4 out of our 5 children were born in Israel. And then we moved to Cleveland, Ohio, where we currently live. And my family lives. I'm in and out all the time. But
wow.
Yeah. And I'm mashgiach in a high school over here, which basically nowadays just means I go over there about once a week to speak and hang out with the guys. I wish I was able to just be there every day. That would be amazing. But Baruch Hashem has my calling in so many different areas. I counsel on addictions, parenting, family situations, family conflict, and just an array of other things. I write, I speak. Wow. I think that's the sum of it. I cook.
You cook?
I'm in my kitchen right now. So.
Oh, wow. Okay, so most people know you as a speaker, though I also heard you work with teens. You're a Rebbi. Please share with us a little bit about that. What's the story behind you?
Oh, well, when I was, it's a really good question. It's a really good question. Let's do it. When I was a teenager, I think my father always told me that I felt things very, very deeply. I felt things on a very deep level. And it was very hard for me as a kid to feel things deeper than the people around you. And as a matter of fact, I only learned this later. But apparently, one of the common characteristics among people who fall for addiction or fall to addiction in their lives are that they feel the world in a very, very deep way. And they don't feel things the same way as other people. Everything has a lot more meaning and a lot more depth to it.
Right.
And that uncategorized and that not being given its fair share can cause a person to be in such deep pain that the only thing they can do is try, the only respite that they can possibly have is to sort of quiet that pain. Right. I, Baruch Hashem, did not have that experience. My parents and the way I was just brought up was that it was kind of a superpower of mine, that I always had a very wild imagination.
Wow.
And I always felt things very, very deeply. And these were 2 things that my parents really built me up very, very big on. So as I got older, I learned to trust those feelings and not let them take me over, but listen to them. And I realized that, there are so many things in our systems that are just not okay and aren't right or can be better. I shouldn't even say that they're not right. I think at some point they were right, but as time goes, we need to, up our game. So I promised myself as a teenager, basically, that I will never forget what it was like to be a teenager, because people tend to tell teenagers that, you think your life is difficult, wait until you get older. You have to pay bills and you have this and you have kids to worry about and a family. And I made it my part of my mission that I would like to tell teenagers that I'm definitely not a teenager anymore. And I have bills and I have a house and I have kids and I have a wife and Baruch Hashem, I have all these things. And by far, life as a teenager was more difficult than it is as an adult.
That's true. It's a very difficult stage.
Without a question. I don't think it's given its fair share. I don't think teenagers are given the fair respect. I think when they are, they tend to do unbelievable things.
Yeah.
Look at Meaningful Minute, that has spread so much of my content out there. Was started by Nachi, a very close friend of mine, Nachi Gordon, but he was a little kid. He was a teenager when he did that. I look at you, right? Doing this.
Yeah,
I have absolutely no idea how you pulled this off, to be honest with you. I say no to every single podcast interview just because. I have absolutely no idea how you did this. Oh, wait, Bialo. So that's actually why I said yes.
What?
Something about it made me be like, yeah, I'm going to say yes to this one. Also, your story was very, it touched something deep in me, and I was like, yeah. I'll help out, sure.
That's so epic. I'm so happy. Wow. Okay, so curious to know, when did you start creating videos and speaking around the world? So first you said about like why you did it. Now I want to know when you started.
Oh, so I was really not. So a lot of people think it's a family thing. That like because just about all my siblings anyone has ever heard of is a speaker. And the funny part is when I like to tell people when I was a kid, I used to love Sherlock Holmes. I used to love comic books, Sherlock Holmes and Batman, and in the Sherlock Holmes series, there's a Sherlock Holmes has an older brother named Mycroft. And it's a running joke in the series. It's a known thing that Mycroft Holmes is much better than Sherlock Holmes at everything. And if Mycroft Holmes ever, I mean, he works for the Queen, whatever, but if he ever came out to the forefront of the world, no one would ever care or pay attention to Sherlock. And the siblings of mine that no one knows about are the Mycroft Holmes. If ever they came, no one would care who Yossi Bensoussan is at all. So we actually all came to it in different ways. None of us really took the same route or path to getting to where we are. And people thinking that we're interchangeable actually does cause a little bit of problems, because if you were to take one of my other brothers and have him speak on addiction or anything, it's not really his field. If you were to have me give share to a big issue somewhere, it's not exactly in my wheelhouse. So, it could get confusing. But for me personally, I started off with working with teenagers, and specifically teenagers suffering from substance abuse for a while. And then someone asked me to speak somewhere, and I did. And then one thing led to the next, and one thing led to the next. But it wasn't that easy. There were a lot of bad speeches in the beginning, a lot of really embarrassing, really pointless, really.
Maybe you think it is.
Oh, no.
But for the other person,
there's some bad ones out there.
It's only really epic. Yeah.
Well, now that took a really long time. The whole video recording thing was something I was never really comfortable with. I always had other people do it. Recently, that I wanted to be more at home and more at my kids. So it just became, also, I really started to feel that people were viewing me, or I started writing articles even mainly before too much video recording, and people were viewing me as like, or reviewing speakers or anything as like these like higher and up there people. And I'm not at all. I suffer and struggle the way anyone else does. And I really wanted that to be out there for people to see. So I tried to make it as raw as possible, like my videos, Backyard Confessions, or anything like that, are all basically about how I mess up every single week. And I put it on video. And the lesson that I learned from it, and that's how I go about, my in my day-to-day. I really like to try to be real. So the video, it was really just one thing led to the next, led to the next, led to the next. In the beginning specifically, I was like, people would call me to speak places, and I was like, "Are you sure? You sure you got the right brother? Are you sure you want me? Are you sure?" Like, I don't have me. But it became a passion of mine. I do love it. I love what I get to do. It's amazing. Yeah.
How many brothers do you have? It took your brothers. I was gonna know.
Yeah, there's quite a few. There aren't that many. It's just, I guess, when there's that many like that. So there's 5 boys. I have 4 brothers and 2 sisters.
Wow. Okay. When did it become a Rebbi?
So that happened already. That happened before anything. I mean, actual smicha, that happened when I was in Eretz Yisrael, when I was in Kollel.
Oh, wow.
But I was teaching before that and was referred to as Rebbi. A Rebbi is a very large, broad title. But I was teaching since, the truth is, I've been teaching since I was about 19. I believe.
Whoa!
18, yeah.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, I've been doing this for a very, 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 very long time. I've been working with people.
Wow.
Teaching, yeah.
Wow.
So I started teaching when right when I got to Israel, basically, even when I was in yeshiva, I was always giving something. It was always a share something that I would like to give. It's how I always learned best was when I had something to teach.
Right.
And then then I became a dorm counselor in a yeshiva that I don't think is around anymore. And then it just became bigger and bigger. And there was always those two simultaneously. And because that was mainly because one of my Rebbeim, Rabbi Friedlander, was always very, very strict that no matter what I wanted to do professionally, no matter what I wanted to do working with people or anything, I wasn't allowed to stop being a Rebbe of some kind. That I should always wear what he called clay kodesh. That I should always. I hope he meant that figuratively, because I don't usually walk around in clay kodesh technically, but clay kodesh meaning the be involved in
right. Right. Wow. What is the most best and crazy memory throughout your speaking adventure? You're gonna call it an adventure because it's a real adventure.
This is well, I mean, it has happened once or twice where they got the wrong brother. Like I said, that was fun. That was always funny.
No, really?
Yeah. But that aside, which I'm sure it's happened to them also, I hope. But that aside, probably my best memory of speaking and the one that has made the most impact on me was when was two times. Number one was when I spoke at my kollel in front of my Rebbi and all of my friends and all of my peers and it was the worst speech I ever gave. And it was horrible. It was really, really bad to the point that I tried getting out of it by making jokes and the jokes weren't working either. And someone had to hand me a paper in the middle that said, please stop and sit down. This is really bad. Just please stop. And I love that story. I love that happened. That's because
so embarrassing.
It was the most embarrassing thing ever. I walked out of there and I said, I don't know what I was ever thinking. I can't do this. I'm not I don't know what I was thinking. I'm the worst speaker ever. Like, why would I think I can, like, this is such a bad idea. And I love it because I love telling people about it because, you're going to have days like that. You're definitely going to feel like that sometimes, that it's just the worst. And then the other one, I don't know why this one is like one, but this one really comes in my head. Certain big speeches that I've gotten were always like, wow, this is amazing. But I got to speak at my wife's grandmother donated a Sefer Torah. And I got to speak at that Sefer Torah, and it was a very emotional speech. It was very special.
Wow. Okay. What is your most best and crazy memory throughout your Rebbi, whatever adventure? I don't know any good vocabulary. Sorry.
Oh, a good story of Rebbiing. There's so many. This question is, which ones can I share even?
Sorry.
I honestly, this is one that just happened last year, and it's just, I don't know, this one sticks with me always. This happened, a few times, just in different ways. But I think as a Rebbe, this is as a Rebbe and what I do, this is, what you want your life to be always. A boy, this is very emotional for me. A boy came in to my office. One of my students came into my office, and he sits down, and he was doing phenomenal. And his mother had told me that he's not gonna do well. She was certain. And he sat down in my office and he said, I need you to be straight with me. Like, what's going on? I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, something's going on. I need you to be straight with me. What's going on? So I said, Tzaddik, I have no idea what you're talking about. He's like, I can't learn. I know that. And I'm not good at this. And I'm not good with what he called. He's like, but here I am, and I'm learning, and I'm doing well, and I know something's going on. He's like, but this isn't possible. So I need you to tell me, like, what's really going on here. And I started crying because I could cry. I'm very emotional. But I said to him, nothing's going on other than you're working really hard and you're trying really hard and you're doing really well. That's it. and we both cried. But it was a really, in Rebbeing wise, it was a really, really beautiful moment. I also, unfortunately, about 2 weeks ago, had to go to I'm sorry, I'm trying to plug in.
It's okay.
My
It's all
computer's
good.
gonna die. I forgot. So about a week ago, I had to go to a student of mine's Shiva house. I wasn't able to make it for the Levaya. He passed suddenly. They don't know how or why. I went to his house, and I remember I was sitting in his house, and his mom was talking, and she was telling me like all the learning disabilities he had and all these different things. And then I remember seeing the photos on the wall that they put up, especially of his time in Israel, which is where I was his Rebbe. And I remember seeing like a siyum that him and I made together on Makas, on Saltas Makas. And that was a very big moment for me, because it took a lot of work to get that going. And yeah, I guess the running theme would be, anytime that you believed in someone as a Rebbe and you made the effort to try to connect with them, that was everything. I think too much. I think specifically teenagers, kids put too much weight into adults, into teachers, into parents, giving them the permission to be great, giving them the permission to do well in a class, giving them the attention to do well in a class. You got to realize that the younger you realize this, the better you're going to do in life, the happier you're going to be. You be you, and you be you undeniably. That doesn't mean you're always going to be right. That means you're going to have ideas that are completely wrong, and you're going to have silly things that come up in your head, and be flexible. Let those things go. Don't fight for just the sake of fighting. Don't fight for something you believe in without really knowing too much about it. But be you, though. Be you fully and absolutely. Don't let anyone tell you that you can't be that, because, the more undeniably you are you, the more respect you'll demand from everyone around you. And then you'll get that attention. But, you don't want it just because they're giving out attention. It doesn't really end anywhere.
Right. What are your dreams? What's something you really, 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 really want to accomplish?
Whoa. Wow, you have really good questions.
I know, right?
Where did you get these questions from?
I made it up.
Oh, you? Wow.
Made it up. I know. Pretty awesome.
I wasn't even asking that because you're young. I'm asking that. I would have asked that of any interviewer. Like, where did you get these questions? These are good questions. What are my dreams? My dream is, honestly, to be able to spend as much time as possible with my kids. That's really all I want. If I could do that, like, as much as I possibly can, that would be amazing. My dreams are that on a professional level, though, or on an outside level, I'm very into, like, it happened a few times because it was too cute to pass up, but I very much try to keep my home, and then outside of my home. I only say stories and speeches that happen to me personally or that happen around me. So I speak about my kids all the time in speeches, but as far as, like, them being out there, like, I like my home being home, outside my home being home, outside home. So my dreams for inside my home, whatever. My dreams are outside my home, if you want to know. I guess number one, I would love to write a book one day. Writing's not easy.
That's a good idea.
I do write, but it's very difficult for me to do. I'm a perfectionist, and writing is like the perfectionist's nightmare. So I would like to write a book, not because I have so much to say or because it would be such a good book, only because I would love to fight my perfectionism. I would love to win against my perfectionism enough that I get to write a book one day.
That is a good idea.
Yeah. And my dreams, I'm living my dreams. That's the truth. I really am. I'm currently living my dreams. I don't have any more dreams than what I have right now. Actual attainable dreams. I would love to see Mashiach. So many things, but as actual, that's an attainable dream. But actual attainable dreams within my life, within my power. I'm living them. I love the life I have.
I love it. What is a life lesson you can teach us?
Oh, that one, be undeniable, be undeniably you. But the most important lesson, I think, and adults need to hear this also, that's the truth, this is not specifically to kids, is that you were created by Hashem to be you, but more importantly, to not be anyone else, and more importantly, with a purpose. So you're not the one that was the accident. You're not the one that was looked over, or Hashem put you here for a reason. Don't try to figure out that reason, but live your life, because no one else is more or less important than you. And when we realize this is the cure to, on one hand, jealousy. There's also the cure to, gaiva, which is the idea that no one's more important than I am, but no one's less important than I am. Every single person has their, right? The Mishnah says every single person has their time and place.
Right. Yeah.
We're not going to be you. No one else can be. And if you're going to try to be someone else, that's already taken. So don't go outside of your lane. Be you. Be you. It's so important. And being you means your entire you. So we're like, okay, when I'm out of high school, then I could be effective. When if I had better parents, or I had different parents, or I had better teachers or different teachers, if I had all these things, more money, less money, if I had all these, no, Hashem put you in that specific situation with those parents and those teachers and that horrible story that happened to you and all of these things, just so that you can be you. It's the perfect training for you to be you. Right. I've been through so many different things in my life, and I'm thankful only afterwards, obviously, for all of them, because I see now, I'm like, the only reason I get to be happy today is because yesterday I was struggling with that thing. So today I get to be happier. I never thought I'd be a proud perfectionist or a recovering perfectionist, but I am. And I'm proud to say I had to go to therapy for it. And I had to, because it's part of who made me who I am, what made me who I am. And Hashem was amazing in giving me that. I'm able to relate to and understand so much more, not only about myself, but about other people because of it. So be you. Stop wasting time trying to hope for it to be any different. Be you, accept it as it is right now, and run with it. You're going every great person everyone who's ever been on this podcast, any person, not that you only have great people, I mean, you had me, so I don't know, but, any person that you've ever followed or wanted to listen to or anything, every single one of them have a story. Every single one.
Yes.
You're in the middle of writing your story, so keep writing it.
I love it. All right, Rabbi Yossi, thank you so much for joining this beautiful, wonderful, and amazing Elevate Yourself interviews. Everybody, for more interviews, please press the number below. And then have an amazing day.